Hi everyone, Paul Morbid here, Morbid Team Entertainment and Bolex Repair Philippines. Welcome to installment number 3 of an overhaul on a Bolex H-16 Reflex film camera. So, what I've done first, I wanted to explain, since the little handle, this part right here, the black part, on the handle, the wind cranking handle was broken. There is a square washer beyond the screw, and that will cut the fingers. If this ever happened to you, so before I wanted to go any further, I took electrical tape and wrapped all the way around it. Also, as you'll see here, I extended the wrap out about 50% through the wrapping, folded it over, and the other 50% I wrapped around. That way it's not going to cut my fingers. And if you have the same type of problem, make sure you do this. It will cut you, definitely, since you got to wind the Bolex some 22 cranks counterclockwise. All right, so going further, this will actually sit down in here now until I get the replacement part. And I've already wound this Bolex. So today we got some exciting news here, because as I stand it up and I go right down here to the motor section where the M is right there. Now you can see it. All I have to do is press it. And I have gotten the camera motor to operate. It will need to be cleaned fully. This is simply because when I purchased the camera, it came without a lens, and I suspect that it had always been like that for a long time. And then the shutter section here, inside and beyond the glass, was filled and is still filled with a good bit of dirt and dust that it collected from the lubrications over the generations, wherever this camera was packed away here in the Philippines. I cleaned that out, and I cleaned the shutter and oiled it around the area slightly, and not the shutter itself, but around the area, and cleaned it with a Q-tip and alcohol, the shutter that is, not using oil on the shutter. And that has got the camera motor in the operating range of motion. Now, as you can hear and see, it's starting to slow down. Now, that's a dead giveaway of needing cleaning, the CLA, clean, lubed, and adjustment, due to this camera. So we're going to turn it off here and proceed with other parts of the camera. As we know, I got the turret to release itself and unfreeze. And what I'd like to do is share with you how I did this. First thing I want to mention is that unless you have knowledge, really good knowledge and expertise in Bolex cameras, do not attempt to service them yourself. However, if you choose to go ahead and take the plunge and risk, then go ahead and do it upon your own will. Alright, so what I did was as follows. First, around this lens section on the threads, the corner of the turret, the top of the turret, including the bottom here, I applied some basic machine oil, sewing machine oil. This is for testing in the beginning when you're cleaning and lubing and adjusting. Alright? Stay away from the shutter, glass, and prism area, as the oil will destroy it. You can clean it with alcohol and Q-tip, but that's it. So after I did that, you can let it sit for a while, and upon that, I buy cheap screwdrivers with a rubber handle. And in this area, I started tapping, and I must have did this for an hour. And more importantly, right here in the corner. So when you keep tapping like that, tap, 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 that's going to happen. It's going to give way. Now, take note. Stay away from the shutter, glass, and prism area, as well as the viewfinder, as you could damage the unique reflex prism system, which you don't want to do. Alright, so moving forward. Next is when you're really getting down to the meat of the situation with these cameras, with these Bolexes. It's time to take it completely apart piece by piece. Find out what the issues are, such as with this fader here, why it will not move at all. As you can see, it won't even budge. For sure, it's due to the old lubrications in there collecting dust and dirt. Possibly some rust, that type of a thing. So let's get started on this. One thing I would definitely like to stress is that when you get inside of here, let's say you've just gotten a Bolex camera, whichever model it may be, and you are sure you know it needs a CLA, clean lube and adjustment, and you want to go ahead and clean and lube it. Whatever you do, do not go inside these cameras with a can of WD-40. That is the absolute worst thing you can do, as it will damage the camera in many places and even damage the parts. Understand there are new parts for these cameras. They're using used and old parts to replace. There are certain parts that need oil, certain parts that need to be greased, and you can use weapons grease. Just go to your local weapons shop if you want to get some of that. I got to check the springs in here, the gears and stuff for rust, and go ahead and proceed and taking it. The first part I'm going to remove here is the pressure plate. I usually do this with my fingers, but for the sake of the video, so everyone can see, if you don't know, lift it up here, ever so lightly and slightly, and pull back. Next is this black screw here. It unscrews counterclockwise. Hope you've enjoyed installment number 3 of the overhaul of a Bolex H-16. Very soon, hope you enjoy and be ready for installment number 4. Paul Morbid of Morbid Team Entertainment and Bolex Repair Philippines. Thanks a lot and see ya!